Hello everyone, I'm Somdatta Karak and welcome to CCMB Conversations. In CCMB Conversations, we will take you to understanding work in science that's happening around us through experts in India. Today we have Dr. Sangram Bagh with us from Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics, Kolkata. He has been genetically engineering bacteria that can find all kinds of patterns in numbers and letters and solve mathematical problems. And we will try to unpack all of this with Sangram. Welcome, Sangram.
Thank you.
Sangram, let's unpack what you are doing here. I mean, you are genetically engineering bacteria that can find unique letters, unique numbers.
Yes.
Can you explain us what this really is?
So the idea is like if you look at the evolution, bacteria is the prokaryotes. I mean, in terms of the complexity, if you actually look at the things, so those are one of the most simplest thing came first on the earth, and then the complexity increases with time, and we got some kind of the intelligence, the neurons, and so on. And today we have a complex being like a human who can actually develop technology, can do abstract thinking, and so on. So the questions we started asking that is it possible that the bacteria, one of the simplest system at this moment in the biological system, is it possible to build some of the abstract intelligence on that? So basically the bacteria and all the other things, they are intelligent by their own form. They are surviving, and they have done lot of different kind of the computations they are doing there. So our goal is that can you actually hack this computation and build something which is bacteria is not capable to do. So that's why we build a set of bacteria genetically engineered such a way so they can identify prime numbers, they can identify within a letter if it's a vowels or the non-vowel, and they can answer some of the kind of the mathematical questions. And here, so how we are asking the bacteria the questions, we are asking, so even a computer, if you like to ask this kind of the questions, you actually press a key, and whatever they press the key or write something, at the machine level, it is a binary, 0 and 1. So similarly, here in the bacteria, we are asking this question, again in terms of the 0 and 1, but not on the electronics term, but adding some of the chemicals, so on that pattern. So if you add some chemicals, it is 1, if it is not 0, so you can generate some binary to ask the question to the bacteria. And if when the bacteria process those answers, and they are giving back the answer in terms of producing a fluorescence protein, which means the bacteria actually glow at different colors. So from that color can be in the microscope, you can see those colors, and from the pattern of the color, you can understand that what bacteria is talking to you.
Got it. So before I try to understand how bacteria really answers the questions that you want the bacteria to understand to answer for us. Can you, I mean, you said something very interesting, that bacteria in themselves have intelligent organisms in themselves, and that's what has helped them survive for millions of years on Earth.
Yes.
So can you help us understand how bacteria really has been using its intelligence? Like, how are we supposed to visualize their intelligence?
Okay, so if you say the bacteria's native intelligence, so that at this moment, even people do not know that how we define the intelligence very scientifically. So this is evolving, like many of the ideas of the science, but the one working principle of the intelligence in the problem solving. So for example, in high school, everybody studied something called chemotaxis, like if a bacteria goes towards a chemical attractant, basically this is the food. Now, if so when the bacteria is swimming, sometimes what happens, some water molecule hits the bacteria and bacteria's direction changes. Then if still bacteria is swimming, then bacteria is going away from the food. So bacteria can actually understand that they are going away from the food, they stops. So they have to decide, for example, to swim or not to swim, or which direction to swim. So this is a simple problem solving that is not happening through the brain or the neuron, but it is happening through the molecular interaction inside the bacteria. So this is one of the example. Similarly, there is a lot of other single cell organism, like if you think about the paramecium, and if the paramecium going towards the food, and if you give an obstruction between the food and the paramecium hits that wall, if you give the same situation in a bacteria, bacteria hits the wall and stops. Bacteria doesn't know how to solve that problem. But in case of the paramecium, paramecium comes back a little bit and then it changes direction and again starts swimming. So this way they
So paramecium is a little more intelligent than bacteria?
Yeah, exactly, because this is a little complex problem than just to decide swim or not swim. So it can solve this problem again, but again it is like single cell organism like a yeast or the bacteria. It doesn't have the brain or the neurons. So if you look at this thing, so and if you go top of it, if you come to the animals like the jellyfish who doesn't have a brain but they have the neurons, so they have another level of learning procedures. They can solve many other complex problem compared to the bacteria or the paramecium. So this problem solving ability or intelligence evolves in that way. So it is starting from definitely starting from the bacteria. That is the native intelligence we can call.
And in your work you are basically using that native intelligence of bacteria but engineering it in a way so that we humans can visualize that intelligence?
No, it's not like that. So what I'm trying to say, bacteria are already intelligent, but those bacteria does for their own survival. What we are doing, we are generating a program. Program means like the way you program a computer. So now we want to solve, for example, the number. So bacteria has nothing to do with the number because the number concept is completely an abstract concept, and that come to the human, and specifically this prime numbers and the vowels, the letters. That's a linguistics problem, and there's nothing to do with the bacteria. And even probably a dolphin or I don't know, but a monkey, probably they are not very. They don't know what is the letters, vowels, and so on, so on. So those kind of the abstract problems are not present, I mean, in bacteria to solve. So what our things that can we take those kind of the higher level problem solving things, and can we make the bacteria engineer so that they have those like kind of higher level problem solving. So that is why what we engineered, when we engineered the bacteria, we engineered as an artificial neuron. So simply put these things, so we ask this question, can we make artificial bacteria as an artificial intelligent agent like a robot or a computer or something? Okay, not that level, but still. So that is why what we did, we engineered the bacteria such a way they follow the exact mathematics of the artificial neuron, which is the part of the artificial neural network and which is the mathematical framework for the AI. So our goal is to make a kind of or AI kind of things with the bacteria. So that's nothing to do with the bacteria's native intelligence.
Got it. So you are trying to train the bacteria to do a function that it otherwise does not do.
Does not do, yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what are these kinds of functions that you are asking the bacteria to do, and how are you making it do it?
Okay, so how again? So for example, when you say, let's say you look at the today's, we are always looking the Google, the Facebook, and so for Facebook, if you actually uploaded a picture, Facebook actually asks if you like to tag yourselves or your friend. So how the Facebook does those kind of thing? Because in their server they have a very large artificial neural network, and that works as a face recognition algorithm, and they do their math to do that. So that what I'm trying to say, this artificial intelligence at this moment what we're using are based on the artificial neural network, and you can see what amazing things they are doing. So what we thought, that if we can engineer a bacteria mathematically which will work as an artificial neuron, so exactly like in the Facebook, whatever the artificial neural network is there. So if you build a bacteria like an artificial neuron, so in a culture the bacteria will interact with each other, and that will make an artificial neural network but made with the bacteria. We can say it is a bacterial neuron. So when you develop this artificial neural network with the bacteria, then this artificial neural network has the capacity to actually answer some of the abstract kind of the problem, because the same thing you can do in the computer too. So we make those bacteria genetically engineered such a way that when you give an input and you get an output, this relationship exactly follow the mathematics of an artificial neural network. So we optimize that how, because we are putting various genes and proteins from various other organisms to make a kind of a new signaling pathway in the bacteria, which can actually do the work like a neuron, but in the chemical space, not in the electrical space like a neuron. So and then they will interact with to develop the artificial neural network to solve those kind of the problem.
Got it.
Yeah.
So just like a computer works on a binary code of 0 and 1, here you are trying to replace all that electronic circuitry.
Yes.
with a network of bacterial cells connected to each other. And each bacterial cell answers to a query in a format which is equivalent to 0 and 1.
So simply to put, like as you said, that the electronic circuitry of the computer, here the circuitry is the biological circuitry of the genes and proteins that will work like the computer and make the network to do that.
Okay, fascinating, Sangram. So why are you building these kinds of bacteria? I mean, are you really looking at building a computer that is made of bacteria?
Yeah, so there is two different motivation and two very basic motivation for that. One motivation is from the fundamental of the science. So that is what we are trying to build, that how we are going to build intelligence on a living matter, right? So I mean, once Richard Feynman has a very famous quote, if you cannot build it, you don't understand it. So exactly, we try to understand the intelligence by building. So when we took a very simple system and then we are stitching molecules by molecules, we are trying to understand each of the mathematical component. So this way, we are trying to understand what are the minimal components required to build that intelligence. We are not there yet, but that is one of the very fundamental motivation, that what is the intelligence, how intelligence works on the biochemical world, and what is the meaning of the intelligence probably. So that is one of the motivation. And second motivation, what you really said, at this moment, if you think about a smallest computer or the smallest robot, they are at the level of the centimeter or the millimeter scale. In the micron scale, definitely there is no computer or robots present. So that means in the bacteria itself is the real micron scale, 2 to 5 micrometer, which is, I can say, it is somehow, if you take your hair and if you see the diameter of the hair, which is around 50 to 25 to 50 micrometer. So 10 times less than that is the bacteria. There is no computer present. So, but if you engineer the bacteria like a computer, which can take the decision on the human objective, then we can generate a new kind of the technology where the conventional computer cannot work. So what I can say, that at this moment the bacterial computer cannot replace our conventional computer, but it can start working where the conventional computer cannot work. You can imagine that in this microns, as it is a biological system, it can be integrated with the biological system. For example, imagine if you engineered a cell in such a way, based on the various physiological and the chemical parameter inside a body, they decide it is a disease state and then act of it. So those kind of things are not available at this moment. So this is the kind of things. It can be applicable to the chemical industry when there is various chemicals are coming, how on that scenario how to act. You can think about the climate change, and that also people can think about the terraforming in a real format, how this. So it can be integrated with the many system, and where the computation is not there, we can build a computer for those kind of the systems. So that is the second motivation.
Awesome. This really sounds like material for science fiction. But thank you so much for engaging with us today, Sangram, and all the best with building collective intelligence with bacteria.
Okay, thank you very much, Somdatta, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about our work.